All right. Good morning and welcome to Tea and Conversation Live. I am the host, Tea and Conversation of Tea and Conversation, Candy Lowe, and we're in our second season, and I'm so excited about it. I have on with me our weekly contributor, Kyle Jackson. He is a professional realtor, and when I say professional, very professional, certified full service realtor here in our community. And if you are looking for a home, a lot of people in 2025 are ready and looking for that first home. And Kyle Jackson is your guy. Good morning, Kyle.
Good morning, Candy. It is so great to be here with you again this week. I'm looking forward to telling the folks about what's going on here in Tampa Bay and in Florida with this real estate market.
Yes, 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 and yes. I've been thinking over the last few days when we have been on together, and I can remember, and I just want to jump right into this. I could remember, Cal, when I purchased my um, my second home. My
Mhm.
second home is when um, I got to thinking about what did it look like in reference to the down payment. And I always knew it was going to be like 10% or somewhere around there. And I knew that I really didn't have 10% in the bank. So,
Mhm.
could you expound a little bit on the percentage that you need? If you do not have it, how do you prepare to have it? And are there any assistance out there as well for people that may be ready to purchase a home in the next 6 months or so?
Absolutely. Great question. Um, so down payments are interesting because there are variables, right? For example, if you are a VA buyer, you are using your veterans benefits, you have no down payment. It's zero. It's a zero down payment program. Then we have what are called FHA loans. And a FHA loan, you can put down as little as 3.5% and when I say put down, for people who don't know these mortgage and real estate lingos, right? A down payment is the amount of money that you, as the buyer, are contributing towards the purchase of the home. You have to come up with some money, or the way we like to say it is put some skin in the game, right? Like something it's not just the bank covering 100% of it. You're putting some portion of that money down towards the purchase of the property. And um, FHA is a government program where you can put as little as 3.5% on anything from a single family home, a duplex, triplex, or a quad. You can get up to a 4 unit property under that FHA program. And for any of those folks who may be thinking, well, I want to rent a room or I want to be a real estate, you know, investor as well. Besides living in the property, I can also rent out some of the units in the property. You can also do that with a 2, 3, or 4 unit property. Then you get into what we call conventional lending. And conventional loans used to be 20% down. Um, that can be daunting, when you start talking about 20% of 100,000 is 20,000, 2,000. Let me get my math right. 20% of 100,000 is $2,000, right? Oh, I'm sorry. $20,000, 20%. I'm sorry, it's early in the morning. So that's $20,000 that you got to come up with if you're putting 20,000 or 20% on just 100,000. If you're looking at most of the homes in our area are about $400,000 now. 20% of that is $80,000 down, right? Most people don't have a huge chunk of money like here's $80,000 as a down payment. So you can find conventional loans though that will take less, right? Some conventional programs let you put as little as 10% down. I've even heard of some who have
Okay.
5% down conventional loans, right? And One of the differences, there are some key differences between conventional loans and FHA loans. One, with a conventional loan, you can buy a property since you're putting so much of the money down as a down payment. You can actually buy a house that needs a lot of repair. A house can be nearly falling down, and people will still finance you. They'll still give you 80% if you put up 20%, right? That's not the same in an FHA situation where they're putting up 97%, you're putting up 3.5%. They want a house that is in good standing, that's, livable, in good condition. Because they want to make sure that you're not just going to get sick of this house and walk away from it, right? I only put down 3.5%, I'll just walk away. Another thing I've been getting calls about over the last few months, a lot of people want to buy land, right? Just vacant land. And if you buy vacant land, there are a limited number, not as many lenders do loans for vacant land, but the ones that do, they typically want somewhere between 20 to 30% of the money as a down payment from you, right? So you may have to come up with as much as 30%. So again, just using my $100,000 example, if you're buying a piece of land for $100,000, you got to come up with $30,000. Now, I don't want to scare folks off because you can get land in this country for, I've seen as little as $1,000, right? You can get a piece of land and do something with it, or grow something on it, or put a small trailer on it, or build a big house, right? There are varying things you can do with land. But it also location, right? So depending on where you want to buy, you're going to be paying more. If you're in a very rural area where there's lots of vacant land available, you can get it for relatively cheap. If you are going to be in a city or a suburb, I sold a piece of vacant land. We started the list price in Riverview at 150, if I remember correctly, and wound up selling it for $145,000. And so, and it wasn't even a full acre; it was like just over half an acre of land. Now, it's interesting because I drove down that street just not long ago, and someone has built a really sizable home on that particular piece of property. A very beautiful home now. So you can buy land and build your own property and have a builder come out and help you construct that. But getting back to the main point of the question, the down payment can be daunting if you don't, haven't saved up money. So step one is, if you're planning to buy a home, you need to be saving. You need to be putting away some money to ensure that you have some resources to put towards the purchase of the property. That's number one. Number two, if you haven't done a lot of savings, or if you've tried to save, because saving is tough in these times, right? Like in the current economy and our current system of things, folks ain't they out here just flush with cash, right? Like eggs are kind of costly these days, gas is kind of costly these days. So if it's hard for you to save, try to put away as much as you can, because there are other programs available. There are down payment assistance programs available that will certainly help you to cover the cost associated with that 3.5%. Or the seller can also help you with closing costs, because there's two portions when you're purchasing a home. There's your down payment, and then there's your closing costs, right? So, and they're two separate things. Closing costs are going to be things like paying for your realtor, covering the cost of an appraisal, covering the cost of your inspection, all of these other fees besides the money that you put as a down payment. Sometimes the seller of a property, because they know, they have all this money built up in equity. Maybe they purchased the home for $100,000, but now they're ready to sell this thing and it's worth $400,000. Well, they got $300,000 kind of available. Some of them are kind enough to turn around and say, we'll offer a percentage towards the closing costs, especially those who remember they needed help too when they were first starting out, when they got a little bit of a hand, a helping hand to get into the property. Some of those folks will definitely turn around and offer assistance to the next person trying to get their dream house or their first house or their, an opportunity. So down payments are important. That's something that you definitely, when you're considering a purchase, you want to be considering, have I been saving money? I tell people, try to save at least $10,000, right? Try to get that saved. If you can do more, wonderful. But if you have $10,000, you have something you can work with. You can probably at least get into a starter home, right? You can start off with a townhouse. You can start off with a small condo. And this was something I think we said during last week's episode. It's super important that you don't forget keeping up with the Joneses, the Jacksons, the everyone else whose famous name you can name, right? Start with a seed. There's nothing wrong with starting small. Get your foot in the game, and then you build up and build up and build up until you can now live in the dream house you saw on HGTV or the mansion you saw on Selling Sunset or whatever show you like, right? Selling Tampa. Most people, unless you're an athlete or an entrepreneur or you just come from a lot of money, most of us have to start off small and build our way up, So don't be afraid of that FHA 3.5%. You don't necessarily have to jump straight into 10%, 20% down because that's a big chunk of money. It is.
Yeah.
Now, side note. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Please go ahead.
No, that's okay. I just said I know it frightened me, but it all worked out. And if I had to do it again, I would definitely be better prepared and definitely be a little more confident.
I'm so glad you said, well, first of all, I'm glad it worked out, right? That's the first part. The second part is that, a lot of people, they don't even take the first step because they're like, it can frighten you. It'll frighten you to just, never mind, I'm gonna just keep renting. I don't know where I'm gonna get that money, right?
Yeah.
People like myself, loan officers who work for your credit union, your bank, right? Financial institutions, brokers, we are all in the business of making it happen for you. We don't get paid unless this happens for you. And so we absolutely want to try to find ways to make it happen for you. All you have to do, the first step is call the number. You got to call the number on your screen. You got to call the number. You got to give people your information and let them tell you where you are. Because, one thing besides it being daunting already that you're about to purchase one of the largest purchases you'll ever make in your life, right? They don't teach you about it in school. It's not something that you learned in high school or junior high school. Most people didn't even learn about it if they went to college. So they don't feel secure. They don't feel assured. And that is why you need a real estate professional like myself to be able to give you the bits and pieces of it, walk you through the steps of it, so you feel totally comfortable that you can purchase a home. There are homes all around you. I try to remind people, I love, some years ago, they used to do these caravans, right? Where people would kind of go around to different communities, look around at what was available. And one of the things I would point out is look at all of these houses. All of these houses in these subdivisions. These are people just like you. They're regular folks. They got regular jobs. This is the person that works at 7-Eleven. This is the person who works at the hospital. This is the person who drives the bus. These are all just regular people. So,
correct.
And if they can have a house, you can have a house. You just got to give yourself a chance to do it, So, yeah.
Correct. That confidence, you definitely have to have, and not being afraid, and fear will come in, but you have to definitely be confident. And once you do it, I'm telling you, it is a wonderful feeling to be a homeowner.
It really is. I love to call it pride of ownership. The pride of home
Yeah.
ownership is amazing, right? You want to take care of your yard. You want to put a little garden. You want to paint your house and do the things that when you drive up to your home and you have that curb appeal, it feels amazing. You're like, that's my house. You feel more of a sense of community too. This is now your neighborhood, right? This is yours. The street matters to you. Um, and what I love about it is you don't have to ask a lot of permission to do certain things, right? You can go in and make adjustments to your home. You can beautify your home the way you see fit. And there are
Yeah.
sometimes limitations, especially if you live in communities that have a HOA, right? They're not going to let you if your joy is painting your house pink and purple. The HOA is probably not going to allow you to do that, right? But you can live in communities with no HOA and maybe paint it to your heart's
Yeah.
content. Do what you want to do, right? Um, but there are lots and lots of ways for you to find what makes sense and especially since rent is so high these days, Candy. Rent
Yeah.
in the Tampa Bay area can range anywhere from about. I had a young lady. I felt sad for her. Really, she was renting from a private landlord, a homeowner, and I think she was paying. She had a 3 bedroom. She was paying like $1,000, right, a
Wow.
month.
Yeah.
And she said, "Yeah, I want to find something that'll be $1,000." I was like, "Oh my, you don't know." They didn't tell you. Um,
Definitely
some
not
2 bedrooms. Yeah, that's not going to happen. The rents here, you are talking about $2,000 and above for pretty much
going.
everything. Um,
Yeah.
and so, if you're in a good rental situation and you feel fortunate, stay as long as you feel the need to. Right? Don't be in a rush to jump out because if you get in a huff with that landlord or you leave, just know there are people charging as much as $4,000 a month in Tampa. In Tampa,
Yeah.
forget about if you go down to Miami. You're above that, or you go to some of the bigger areas in Orlando. Like I'm telling you, the numbers are way, way up. So, yeah. So home ownership is very attractive, even for that reason, because if you're going to spend that $2,000 or more a month, at least let it be going into some equity that you will receive back once you're ready to move on. Don't just pay
Absolutely.
somebody because you're paying a mortgage one way or another. You're paying either your landlord's mortgage or your own. I recommend you,
Yeah.
you pay for your own.
Yes. And let me ask you, Kyle, leads me into the next question is how does the interest rate affect home prices? Because I know that it's been different. It's
Mhm.
been fluctuating, but staying a little higher than it was definitely when I bought my home almost 10 years ago. So could you
Yes.
elaborate a little bit on that?
So not so much home prices, but your payment is what it really affects the most, right? If you have a lower interest rate, your interest rate is going to give you a lower monthly mortgage payment. If you have a higher interest rate, it'll be a significantly higher monthly mortgage payment. And that, at the end of the day, is really what most people are grappling with, right? They know that they bought something, it's a big number. If you look at your mortgage paperwork, right, you recognize that you're paying. You bought the house for 200,000, let's say, but once it's all said and done after 30 years, you may wind up paying like double for that, right? Like you may play closer to 400,000 or more, especially if you start falling behind at any point, any late fees, stuff like that. So they're not so much thinking about, okay, the long term purchase. What they are thinking about is, can I afford this payment every single month with my taxes, with my insurance, along with I got kids' cell phones and my cell phone and card notes. And I got, there's a lot going on. But just before the show, you and I were talking about young people and young families, right? You got a lot on your plate, a lot of different moving parts and pieces, often that you have to pay for, right? And so interest rate is important. If you can get a lower rate, which often is tied to what is your credit worthiness? How's your credit, right? So if you have good credit, if your credit's in a good place, wonderful. That'll help you because that's going to help you to qualify for a lower rate. Also, your debt to income ratio will help you, right? What does that mean? That's a fancy mortgagey kind of term to say if you owe a lot of money in your bills, you want to lower how much you owe outstanding, how much debt you have going out versus how much income you have coming in. So yeah, you may make 40, 50, $100,000 a year, whatever it is that you earn. But if you're spending, if you earn $50,000 a year and you're spending $49,500 a year on your basics, you may not have enough cushion. You need some some room to breathe. It may already feel tight for you. So you want to start getting rid of some of the bills. And there are a lot of debt consolidation companies, credit restoration companies. There are a bunch of them that I can certainly refer you to. One of the reasons I call myself a full service certified professional realtor is not only because I work at this full time and I would be able to help you through the pieces and parts, but it's also about my network. I have an amazing network of other professionals that help my clients. So if you need somebody who can help you with credit repair, I have people for that. If you have someone who you need information about how to get your loan or how to get a mortgage, I have people for that. If you get into the house and you say, I want some repairs done to this place. I want to get a new roof. I have roofers. I have people who do flooring. I have people who do electric. I have people who, so the reason I call myself full service is because regardless of what you need, I have the people in place in my network that'll be able to assist you through that process.
Mm-hmm. And you know what, Cal, this is one of the things that I hope that everyone that has been listening to us, and definitely you the last month, is you have to plan this. You just cannot wake up today and say, I'm going to go buy a house this week. It's a planned out process, and definitely
Absolutely.
getting with the realtor that knows the business, knows the ins and outs of it, and that can walk you through the process so that you end up with the home that you want, for one, because you don't want to get into something that you'll see down the road that you should have gotten in. And I shouldn't say shouldn't have gotten in, but that happens a lot. So definitely planning it out.
Let me tell you about something we call it buyer's remorse. Buyer's
Yes.
remorse. If you remember back when we were all wearing masks for a time and we had the whole pandemic going, right? There were a ton of people running to Florida. I was closing houses. I've closed houses in we were making sales in 24 hours, under contract in a day, above list, because everybody wanted to be here. We would do an open house. Now you do an open house, you get made. If you have a really good market, a really good house, you may get 5 or 10 people. There were 25 people waiting outside the house to get in.
Wow.
Right? It was wild, and so people were just like, "Take my money. I'll take this one." Right? Because they felt the pressure of everybody's going to go for it. I just need to have something. I need to grab something. 2 years later, so many of those people felt buyer's remorse. So many of them, they didn't take the time. They didn't take the time to really inspect the home to ensure that they were in a neighborhood that they really wanted to be in. Was this the right house for them? They didn't have the amenities that they wanted, right? A lot of times they just grabbed what they could, right?
Right.
Now that was an emergency situation, right? There was a lot going on. People felt pressure. People were, concerned. If in today's market, you don't have to move like that. But like you said, you do need to plan. This is not, oh, my lease is up next month. Let me go buy a house. It don't work like that. Like Even if you bought a you go to a new construction community, hey, I want a house. I see y'all have houses here. Usually they don't have houses just sitting there, just available. They have built that. They usually go in there. They're going to write a contract with you that says it's going to take us about 9 months to complete your house. And so what are you going to do for the next 9 months, right? Or if you're buying a current a home that has been lived in before and it's already available to you. And if you're buying cash, if you have cash available and you're going to go purchase the home cash, you can get it done in somewhere between 10 to 21 days, right? If you're financing, though, if you're going through a bank, like most people, 21 days is the absolute minimum. It's usually going to take about 45 days. And you better hope that there are no delays because the seller has to move out. They have to go to their other place. If there are any delays with them moving to their place, that's going to delay you moving into your place, right? That may take even more time. Just 45 days, keep in mind, that's almost 2 months, right? That you'll need before you, and that's if you know which house you want and they accept your offer that same day. Oftentimes, it takes time even before that. I tell people, I had a police officer call me recently, and she and her fiance are interested in purchasing their first home. They're renting, right? And they were like, yeah, we want to be in by summer. I said, well, you need to start looking now. And they were like, well, it's March. And I said, you don't know how long it's going to take before you actually find what you even like. You may go into 5, 10, 15, 20 different homes, and you may look and say, this ain't it. This is not what I thought I want to live in. This is not what I'm looking for. You may go through the process of getting a pre-approval, right? And find that, okay, great, you've been approved for $300,000. In your mind, you think, 300,000. I'm about to go get a mansion. No, you're about to go get a very regular house. This is not a ton of money, right? In the world of real estate, it's a ton of money in everyday living, right? In your own pocket. But most folks don't have a real good connection as to, well, what can I get for this sort of house? So you got to start searching. You start searching the internet. You start working with a realtor like myself. You start looking to see what's out there that fits your need and your budget. That may take a month. That may take 2 months, right? Then you finish doing that. Now you got maybe 10 houses in mind. Right? You say, these are the 10 houses. I found them. I like these houses. These are the ones that I like. Okay, well, which one are we going to make an offer for? Which one are we going to put an offer on? You may put an offer on a house. You don't know that 10 other people haven't put an offer on that same house. They may not sell it to you. Right? So you go to your first 1, 2, or 3 houses. These were the ones, these were my favorites. Yeah, they were your favorites and 10 other people's favorites. And so you didn't get those. More time is going by. More time is taking for you to get. And by the time you finally get to a place that you like and that the seller agrees to sell to you, you may be 2, 3 months down the road and you haven't even started the purchasing process because you haven't completed the loan application. You haven't done an inspection, an appraisal, nothing. Right? And so you really, really, really have to start early, give yourself time, plan it out, right? And then you won't fall into the buyer's remorse category that I was telling you about, where you're just rushing in and taking anything. Take your time, do it right, and you will end up in a very happy situation.
Yes, yes, and yes. That leads me into this question I had posted, and I got a lot of comments about it. It's how long does the purchase process take? And I think you kind of went over that. And what do I need to do to buy a home before the end of this year? Because a lot of people want to do it this year.
Absolutely. And this is a very good year to buy a home. as I said, if you're thinking about Florida, right? Particularly now, Florida's a big state. I was talking about the network of professionals that I have in my network. Some of those professionals are other realtors like myself. I only cover I consider real estate very local, right? If you look at any of my marketing, it says Kyle sells Tampa Bay, right? Kyle sells Tampa Bay because I know Tampa really, really well. And not just the city of Tampa, but Tampa and its surrounding areas. Tampa Bay, Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater, and the surrounding suburbs. That's me. Mm-hmm. If you plan to buy in the Tampa Bay area, you need to go to those websites on your screen, call my number. I would love to help you. But I also have a network of realtors within my brokerage and within just my referral network that cover all 50 states of the United States and every county in Florida. Because I'm not driving to Miami. It's a 5-hour drive from here. That's a long way. I don't know Miami well enough to sell you a house there, right? But I have some really amazing realtors who do in my network. I don't have them in Jacksonville. Same thing. I have some really great realtors who do. Right? Even in Orlando's only about an hour and a half from here, hour and a half drive. Mm-hmm. I still refer to my network because there are people who know Apopka really well and, Kissimmee really well and all of Orlando and Orange County really well. And they do the same for me. They know that I know Tampa and Hillsborough and Pasco and Pinellas. And so they send people to me. Right? Mm-hmm. I think that if you want to purchase a home, first step, contact your local loan officer at either your bank or your credit union or a mortgage broker and contact your realtor. Let somebody help you through the process so that you can get this done before the end of 2025. And start now. Start now. The first quarter of the year is over. We're going into April. We're headed into April already. Time is moving quickly. And so if you aren't already visiting my website, you go on my website, you can start looking at houses that are actively on the market now. You contact me and get in relationship with me. You can start getting property sent to your email, to you as a text message every day via something we call the MLS or the multiple listing service. And it's also really important that each day that you are, going to work, you should be socking some money away. You want to buy before the end of 2025? If you're going to have an expense, put some money up. You got to be putting up for, okay, this is going to cost me. I'm going to have moving expenses. I'm going to have to get a U-Haul or 2 guys in a truck, something. You got to pay your cousin something, get them a pizza. Somebody's got to help you move, right? You're also going to have to come up with that down payment that we were talking about earlier, your closing costs that we were talking about earlier, right? So start socking some money away and start looking at what your credit looks like. If you know you've had some dings to your credit, if you know that your credit hasn't been that great, right? You absolutely want to start making sure that you are, while you're in the researching process, if it's going to take you 3 months, over those 3 months, start working on improving your credit. Start making some things, doing the adjustments you need so that by the summertime, you can be actively in a home. Or by, fall, you can be in a home. Or by Christmas, you can be in a home, right? You got to be proactive about this. You cannot just sit back. Nobody's coming to your home and just going to do it for you or knock on your door. You've got to make a decision and work through the process to get to what you want. So having a home before the end of 2025 is a super doable goal. You can do this. That's my message. You can do this. You can do this, right? Don't be afraid. Don't just sit back and think, before the show started, Candy, you and I were talking, I've been getting a lot of hesitation from prospective buyers. I've been telling them, I go to all of these, networking events, these first-time home buyer events. I speak in a lot of different ways. And I tell them, prices are dropping big time. House went on the market. I saw one drop $100,000, like from where it started. $20,000 less, $50,000 less. Now is a buyer's market. You can buy a house for a reasonable price now But a lot of times they're a little bit of afraid of the economy. They feel unprepared. They're not really sure where to start or where to go or what to do. And so I keep reminding folks, get a professional on your team. Let someone else help you. I'm happy to help. And or if not me, I'm not going to say, well, no, if not me, you're making a mistake. Go with me. But I do think that a lot of your concerns can be quieted if you work with a professional who does it on a consistent basis. And if you get started early, give yourself time. I told my son this week, he was stressed out on the road driving and was kind of road raging a little bit. And I said, you know how you avoid road rage? And you give yourself ample time, right? If you have to be to work and you you're doing it and you got 5 minutes to spare, you're swerving around people, you're cussing people out on the road, you're trying to beat every light. But if you left earlier and you knew, well, I still got another 45 minutes before you can cruise to work. You can sing songs. You don't care about no traffic or traffic lights. Everything is smooth sailing. Same principle with buying your home. Give yourself ample time and then it's smooth sailing. You're in no rush. If you wait until I got to get this done before the end of the month, my lease is up, I haven't put any money away, I don't know what my credit score is, you're going to be stressed. You're going to stress out and feel frustrated in the process. Okay. So I definitely encourage you, call the number on your screen. Please do. I would love to speak with you. And I want to help people. I help some folks of all caliber. I don't want people to think, oh, he's only helping first-time home buyers. That's certainly one aspect of it. I spoke to somebody just yesterday. They want to buy a house for $2 million, right? They're not a first-time home buyer and they want to buy cash. So some investors buy big money. Some people buy with small money. Some people are looking to buy. Some people are looking to sell, right? That's another piece that I need to add to this conversation, Candy, is that if you're thinking about selling, the days of the pandemic where people could sell a home with, as we call, as is, that's over. I'm gonna tell you that is over. Don't go into this thinking I have not painted this house in 20 years. The paint is peeling off the walls. I have not changed a single appliance or a single fixture. All of my appliances and fixtures look like they're from the Brady Bunch 70s shows, right? You're going to do yourself a major disservice if you don't make improvements to this house, because there are so many other options between new construction and other people on the market selling. You, home seller, need to make this house much more attractive. There better be curb appeal. That lawn better be right when we pull up. There better be some nice paint. Your front door better look like it's, everything should look in order. When we walk in, it better smell good. There better be things, that make it feel like I can live here. You start walking in the houses and the carpet ain't been cleaned, or people will be like, nope, this ain't it. Let's go. Okay. So give yourself every advantage to sell your home, because it's competitive out here now for the seller, like it used to be competitive for the buyer.
Absolutely. All of those things. I know we discussed those things in previous episodes of Tea and Conversation Live here. And I can't say those things loud enough as well as when you are wanting to sell your home and you have not done any updates. 40 years. Yeah.
Let me tell you that, and it used to be, there was a time, like I said, there was so much demand, you could sell a home as is, right? And excuse me, I needed some tea for this hot tea we're talking this morning. You used to be able to sell it as is and just, look, this is what it is, and take it or leave it. I have 10 people making offers. Now you try to pull that as is if you want to. That house will sit and sit and sit. You won't sell your house for months. And I tell people, it really doesn't take a lot. It just takes a little time and effort, right? Or a little care. Paint the house. A fresh coat of paint makes a big difference in a house. If you want top dollar, stage the house.
Mm-hmm.
So I had, this is many years ago, I had a customer and she was selling a property and she had the ugliest draperies on the windows. Like the window treatments were awful. Everyone who came into the house said they were awful. And she thought they were beautiful. She loved it for her personal taste. This is another reason why you want to stage a property. Have it, you may spend a couple of dollars, but it'll help you get your home sold. It may not look as cluttered. They're going to give you neutral colors that are palatable to more people, right? And so, or as someone wrote in the comments, unless you want to give it away. And that ain't really happening too often these days. Sometimes, if it's just tore down, hey, Katina, if it's tore down, they will, sometimes just, look, take this house off my hands. Just whatever. I don't care anymore. But usually it's in pretty bad shape. And those homes are being given away to investors who don't want to pay you very much for it anyway. Right? But if you're talking about mom and dad to mom and dad, most people, if they're spending their money, they're buying the biggest thing they've ever purchased. They do want to go into a home that makes them feel like, well, not only can I live here, but this is a good starting point for where I can build from. It doesn't necessarily, they may not have all of the best appliances. It may not have all of the best features, right? But at least you can see yourself mentally like, hey, I can do this. I can just change these out. I can, so give yourself an opportunity to be competitive in this very competitive sales market, particularly in Florida. Florida has, right now, between Florida and Texas, we have the most houses on the market for sale in the United States. In the whole United States of America, we have the most right now available. And so be competitive. Be competitive if you want yours to sell.
Yes, absolutely. And even when you were talking about that, I was thinking about when you were saying about the draperies. The majority of homes now do not have draperies. They're heavy. We want light in Florida. We want it to breathe in Florida. So all of those things are so important. Definitely when we have people that are moving to Florida, moving from other areas, they are expecting light, bright, feel good, breathe, air.
Because that's what they moved to Florida for. They came with that in mind. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, I will tell you, you may not even think of it. Clean the windows, help the light come in. Right? Yeah. I told the person, they watched one of our episodes and called me afterwards, right? Candy called me after one of our episodes and she said, you made me feel terrible because I just didn't think about it. She said, at that particular episode, I was saying, clean up your backyard. Clean up the backyard is super important because we live outside a lot. We go out on our lanais. We go out on our patios. It is warm here right now where the rest of the country may be cold. It's going to be 70 something degrees here today. Right? And so, if she said that after that particular episode, she looked at her yard and she was like, I've had this. I had my dog pooping out there. I got my table, my chair. It's just been knocked over, and I just left it sitting over because nobody been out there. People, you just get comfortable in your living environment and begin to forget that, no, I'm trying to sell this to somebody. I need to put my best foot forward. So thankfully, she went out and she did clean up the backyard and straightened up, and because not only is it about pride of ownership for you to sell it, it's about pride of ownership for you to live in it. You want to feel good about your own place for you to live in.
Yes, absolutely. Even that part. I mean, you bought this home. This is an investment, and your yard should look nice. There should be fresh paint on your home. There's a number of years that is like standard that you need to repaint your home.
That's
And
correct.
even yeah, and it's inexpensive to change out your faucets. You know, all those little things to me when I was walking around looking for a home. Was it important to me to have nice faucets? Yes, it was. It was as important as the plumbing, the faucets.
Right. Because people want to walk in and feel good when they touch it, when it looks good, when you have a nice sink, when you have nice countertops, when you have nice cabinets, when you have nice handles. People are paying attention to the details, right? And not only are they paying attention on a sale, they're paying attention when they come to visit. When they come, you may
I,
not even be ready to sell. People come visit for you. You know, they're looking at your house too. Don't you want to feel the pride of ownership in your home? So do the things that make your home beautiful, that make you feel good about your place, right? I like the way you say it. I'm feeling good in myself, spirit, right? I'm feeling good in myself. Yeah. That's the first part. If you're feeling good about it, right? If it smells good, if it feels good, if it gives good energy, it gives good energy when I walk in and try to sell it. You know, I even speaking of some people I have in my network, I have a feng shui expert in my network
mhm.
about where to place, you know, furnishing so you get good energy flowing through your home, money energy flowing through your home, all of these sorts of things. Where you may want to put plants, some flowers, plant some fresh flowers. It's springtime. Put something out there that makes your home look beautiful. You
Yes.
know. And so, I
Mhm.
see that there's a couple questions, by the way, Candy, in the chat. Someone said if they want to build or renovate. Okay, Katina. So that's another thing. You know, there are people who do want to do custom builds, right? So let me tell you a difference between if you go to a company like DR Horton, KB Homes, Lennar, Casa Fresca,
Mhm.
right? These are all some of our local builders. All of them excellent, but they build. They have some plans. They have A, B, C, D. These are the houses we build, right? Um,
Mhm.
and sometimes it may not be to your taste or to your liking. And often it's going to be within a subdivision that's going to have an HOA. Some of them will have something called a CDD, which we haven't talked about yet. I'll come back to that. Um, a CDD. But they Katina calls them the cookie cutters. Yes, it's your cookie cutter home. Boom. We're just going to repeat, 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 repeat. But if you're looking for a custom builder, right?
Mhm.
I want my master bedroom downstairs, not upstairs. I want, you
Mhm.
know, a particular type of cabinetry or flooring. I want this many bedrooms and I want them placed like this. You can actually work with a builder. You can work with an architect. You can buy vacant land and you can create your own. You don't have to buy cookie cutter, right? And so there are definitely builders who custom build homes. And believe it or not, often it is more affordable than people think, right? Because again, they have plans, they have ways to get your financing done so that you can build your own property. So, great point, Katina. I'm glad you brought that to the conversation this morning. Oh, and let me circle back while I got a second here, and because I mentioned something called a CDD. Okay.
Mhm.
So CDDs are kind of unique to Florida. If people are watching from other states, they may be like, "Well, what is a CDD? We don't have that here." In Florida, we do, right? Um, and I apologize. So a CDD is a community development district tax. So you have your normal tax, you have your normal property taxes. This is a second tax for you to have amenities in a community. If you got a pool, a community pool, if you're going to probably have a CDD. tennis courts, if you have basketball courts, you have a dog park, you have a skate park, you got all of the features and benefits that make this a wonderful community to live in. Oftentimes, the homeowners in that community are paying an additional tax in Florida called a CDD. Walking trails, that's included sometimes, right? And you definitely want to pay attention to that because it will increase your cost, but it will also ensure that all of those amenities that I've talked about, the clubhouse, the gym, the pool, that's all of that stuff has to be paid for, right? And CDDs, like taxes, can go up over time. And so it really is a great tool in Florida, but for people who are not so keen on HOAs or communities with a lot of amenities, that may not be for you. If you are looking for a community with amenities, just know you probably, in Florida, you're probably going to have to work with an HOA, a homeowners association, and have a CDD, community development district tax. So I did want to mention that since I just kind of threw that term out there, it's not something that would be familiar to the average viewer.
Yes, and I want to thank Katina for jumping on. She's been at it for years in the community. So it's a pleasure to have her jump on this morning as well with the comments.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Cal, that's just about to do it this morning. This was amazing. Again, amazing information, because I know we have a number of people that are moving to Florida. And we have a number of people right here in the Tampa Bay area that are ready to start preparing for a home in 2025. And if you are ready to start preparing for a home, we want to prepare for it. Definitely give Kyle Jackson a call. You've had the number on as well, which is 813-444-2691. And listen, Kyle is an absolute professional at what he does. And he's been at it a long time. He's someone you can absolutely trust. And I'm saying that strongly this morning, that you can definitely trust to get you what you need. And don't forget to share the video, tell someone about it. Cal is our weekly contributor on Wednesday mornings at 8 a.m. here on Tea and Conversation Live. Cal, if you have anything to add, and then I want to just plug the Black Business Bus Tour is coming.
You know I was about to plug that. So off of last week's show, a friend of mine by the name of Keith Gardner, he tells me that he reached out that he's going on his first Black Business Bus Tour. I was super happy to hear that. I said, what? This is going to be your first one? I said, oh, man, you're going to love it. So I'm really glad that people are going and participating, because the Black Business Bus Tour is not only super important for our community, but, of course, we love you, Candy, and we love you have honestly become the voice for the Black community. I see that they come to you for news reports. They come to you for so many things, and I couldn't choose a better person to represent and speak for us, because you love us, right? And so thank you for continuing to do the bus tour. And I also just want to say that, for folks like Katina, thank you so much for tuning in. Everyone who chimes in, anyone that we can do business with, I am looking forward to the opportunity to serve in the community. The people that I am able to assist, they'll tell you that I don't just drop off. I've been here a long time. I've been living here a long time. So I'm not only going to help you to buy a home or help you through the building process. Like, you're going to contact Katina and have a custom built home, or, no matter which direction you want to go, I'm going to be able to hold your hand and make sure that it's a smooth and easy process for you. And that you, at the end of the day, don't lose money by buying a lemon. I'm going to be looking out for the pitfalls that you may not see. So
Mhm.
I would love to work with you. Again, my name's Kyle Jackson with Siven Premier Real Estate. And please do give me a chance or a call so that we can discuss what it is we have available. Because 2025 is ticking. We're already going into the second quarter of the year, right? So if you were talking about getting this done before the end of 2025, now, not later, not in a month, not when the kids get out of school. I'm telling you, start your process now. Give yourself ample time so that it is a smooth and easy process for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I just want to let everyone know the Black Business Bus Tour is coming April 19th. It is the longest running in the country. We're 19 years in Black Business Bus Tour. It is the original Black Business Bus Tour in our community, in our country. Seats are only $20. This year, 2025, only $20 to ride on the bus if you would like to be a sponsor. Also, if you would like to be a vendor for the Black Business Bus Tour, we will be departing at 11213 North Nebraska Avenue, Suite 402 here in the Tampa Bay area. I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Con Law, Dedicated Seniors Medical Center, Blue Sky Insurance Solution. Also, the Umbrella Effect, Grow My Giving, one of our partners. Also, Hands of Hope Sickle Cell Awareness is one of our partners. NAACP, one of our partners, Sister Yvette Lewis. Madam President Yvette Lewis, been with us for quite some time. Hillsborough County Black Caucus Chamber as well. Also revealing vertical renewal. Sorry about that. Vertical renewal. Also, we have with us, we have a number of other people. I don't know why I don't have it written down. Shame on me. Candy Lowe, shame on you. But that is it. Definitely want to shout out Con Law for making sure that we keep rolling and making sure that our seniors have lunch after the Black Business Bus Tour return. And big shout out to everyone that joined us this morning on TN Conversation Live with the professional of all things real estate here in the Tampa Bay area, CalSalesTampaBay.com. Look him up. If you would like to call him, I'm going to give that number, 813-444-2691. And thank you guys for joining on. Thank you so much for joining me this morning, Cal.
It is always an honor and a privilege and a pleasure. By the way, I didn't get to say it. I did say it online, but since we're all in front of everybody, happy anniversary again. I hope that y'all had an amazing anniversary. Good to see you.
Oh,
and
thank you.
You're more than
Thank
welcome.
You,
we'll talk to you again next week.
All right. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
All right now. Bye-bye.